Let me ask you this then. Cybertruck. What do you think about that car now, that truck now, after being in a Tesla? Has your mindset changed? Be honest.
It's still the ugliest thing I've ever seen. I need to see it. I need to see it in person. I could see how it could maybe look like a tank and look cool, but then I see the triangle shape and I'm like, I can't get on board with it. It looks so ugly to me. I mean, it looks like a DeLorean that was put, and I like the look of a DeLorean, but it just doesn't work on the truck. I feel like. So I need to see one in person. Next time they're showing one, hopefully near me, then you have to come and we'll go do a video on it or whatever. But I want to see one in person. I also want to see loads it can tow and how long the battery is going to last when you're towing. Because I guess most people that are buying trucks now, they're not using them to actually work. And I am aware that Tesla is not selling a working man's truck in the Cybertruck. I understand that, but just in the back of my brain, if a vehicle has a bed, I want to put it to work. So I want to see what it's going to do.
Yeah. So the rumors, so that they still haven't released the pricing. They haven't released the specs, the final specs for the truck yet. But the rumor is somewhere between 350 to 500 miles of range, somewhere in there. It's going to be able to pull 14,000 pounds, and the price could start as low as like 55 to 60.
If it's 55 or 60, I think they'll crush it. I don't see any way they can get it to that price point though, right? Is that locked in?
So when they first unveiled the truck in 2019, the starting price was 39.
Yeah, but then prices doubled since then for a lot of these new vehicles. I know,
but it's come down. Yeah, I know. Like for example, the Model Y and the Model 3, like their fleet basically that they sell now. If you look at their pre-pandemic prices to the post-pandemic prices, it's basically the same now. What the theory is, and then pull up that one of the pictures there I sent, posted on the private chat, producer wife, when you get a second. Let's see if we can convince Brandon to change his mind. The pricing is going to be lower than people think, and that's one of the comments that was made by one of the Tesla executives. There it is in a camel wrap. Okay, show the other one. You're like my buddy Travis. Travis has a F-250. What do you think about that view? Just that little cut. What do you think?
I mean, I like the rim on it, but it's just I can't really see anything of it, so I have no opinion on that one. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll get one in person. When I get mine, I'll drive it up to where you're at, and then we'll do a whole series of it.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay.
So you were talking about towing capacity. At maximum capacity, what kind of range will it have at maximum capacity?
250 is a rumor.
Okay.
250. So what does that sound like? So when I say that,
that sounds great. Because what's the competitor? The competitor is the Lightning. And when you put that under load, I've seen videos where they're only getting like 40 miles or something like that. So
100, something like that.
So that's I mean, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And there might be a situation too where this is where the Tesla variable is interesting. They might have like a trailer or something that has a battery in it that hooks up to the car, or it has a battery in the trailer and it's self-powered.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. So then you basically negate the tow load.
Exactly. There's this one there's this thing called the light ship. So the light ship is a RV that you can hook up to the one of the RVs that you pull, like the camper styles is like pretty big. You can pull it into any truck, and then that RV thing has its own battery, and it basically replaces that thing right there, and it's like it expands up. We saw one in California a couple of weeks ago, so it becomes this big thing, but that comes with a battery. So when you're pulling the thing, like that's what it looks like right there. So when you're pulling it, it's self-power. So your truck basically gets the range it would get. It will usually get, and it has solar panels on the top, so then you can charge the RV thing. But it's expensive. I mean, this thing starts at like 100,000.
Yeah, so but if they can do that on an RV, I mean, the frame for that RV is going to be very similar to the frame for just your like a single flat or like a double flat trailer, and they're going to be able to do the same kind of build out on that without making the living space on it. So they can get that price point way down even now, even though the technology is new, because they're not going to have to do all that living area if they're going to make it like a horse trailer or just any kind of cargo trailer.
Yeah. So that's what they're working on. So maybe they'll come out with a trailer that will negate some of that range impact. But But you're thinking like if it starts somewhere between 55 to 60, pulls 14,000 pounds, and with at full load, 250 miles of range, do you see that as being a good, and a 6-foot bed? Do you think that's a good work truck right there?
If they can get it to that price point. Now, the you're not going to pull a crazy amount of like the Ford diehards, the GM diehards, because they're not going to buy an EV. It doesn't matter what they're just not going to buy an EV. But you're going to have those people that are on the fence that are wanting to buy a truck, and they can look at that they're not closed down to EVs. If they're looking at an F-150 that's going to be $80,000, and then they're looking at this Cybertruck and it's $65,000, then yeah, I mean, money is the amount they're going to have to pay for it. That's going to help pull a lot of gas customers to EVs just by price point. And two, Ford Lightning is still, if they're trying to get $90,000, they're not going to, they might as well shut down the Ford Lightning because they won't sell any of them. Yeah.
And then what do you think about the gas cost savings? Do you think it's a big variable for people too? Because I'm assuming these F-150s probably cost a lot to run.
I don't think they'll care about that.
Okay.
Yeah, people who are driving big trucks, they don't.
Yeah.
That's not gonna be a thing, I don't think.
Okay. Got it. Oh, wait, there's a lot. Producer Wef wants to pull up a picture. I was in one of these light ships at the thing. Look at me. All right, good enough. Terrible angle.
Yeah, you look very upset.
It's like, what the hell? All right, let's bring up the first question. Neil, question. On what basis does Brandon think the Cybertruck is not a work truck?
I mean,
it's ugly.
Well, no, it's ugly, but that has nothing to do with it. So my thing is, okay, if you've got to go to work and you're putting in all day worth of work, a lot of times you're going to be driving more than 250, 300 miles, especially if you're transporting things in this trailer. So now if you're talking about what we were talking about earlier, they make the technology where the trailer is not pulling down the actual capacity of the distance that it can have, then we can have a different discussion. But if you're only having a truck that can tow at full capacity for 250 miles, for a lot of workers that are actually transporting stuff, I think about me whenever we used to actually transport our own vehicles. So we had a single flat, and we would put a car on it, and we would have to transport that car. We would go to an auction in the morning. So we would travel 75 miles, go buy cars at auction. We would transport that car back to our lot, and then we immediately had to go to the next auction. So we're doing all this in a day. We don't have time to sit around and wait because we're on a crunch anyway. So when I think of work truck, I think of something that's okay, it's going to take me 6-7 minutes to fill up halfway through, if I have to fill up at all, because the range on my truck is going to be 450, 500 miles, maybe, depending on, if you're looking at diesel, if you're looking at a big F-350, if you're looking at an F-150 that's towing these vehicles. So when I think work, that's what my brain does, because I remember going to 2 auctions a day and towing cars, and the Cybertruck would not work for that right now.
Got it. So it's really comes down to how much time you can ensure that the truck is actively working, right? So if you minimize that to basically the same as a gas truck, then it becomes a much easier thing to do, right? It just becomes how much you're actually using the truck to actively work.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.